In this video, I'm going to go over my favorite features in Dubsado as a stationery designer. These are features you can use as really any kind of designer or anything in the wedding industry. You're going to find these features especially helpful. I have a special 30% discount on your first month or year with Dubsado, so if you use code Design by Lainey or the link in the description of this video, you can take advantage of their best deal. All the features that I'm going to show you are available in their starter plan, so you don't need to upgrade to the fancy plan quite yet, although if you do want to use like the scheduler or the workflow automations, which I show you in a different video, those are kind of like next level things, and they are really worth it and wonderful features, but I think when you're getting started, you can use that starter plan to do everything I'm going to show you today and all my favorite things about Dubsado. So my number one favorite thing about Dubsado is just the forms overall. I'm going to show you a couple of these that are so valuable to me. What I love about Dubsado's forms is that you can build them all the same way. So no matter what form you're using, you have the same capabilities of images, text boxes, drop-down questions, links, like all these different things you can do on any type of form. There's really no limitations, except for on the contracts and sub-agreements, you have signature fields, and you don't have that on some of the other forms. So the new form builder has so many beautiful capabilities for customization, and I just want to show you what some of those look like. So as a stationery designer, I have two forms that I love the most out of any of them. So my first favorite form is going to be my invitation information questionnaire, and I use this with all of my invitation clients. And the biggest thing about this is it keeps all of your information in one place. I cannot stress how amazing this is. I don't have to search through emails to find changes to information. I don't have to ask them how they want things worded. I don't have to make sure they provided all the information I need. It's all right here. And when I start designing, I know exactly where it is. So right here, just an example, this is called a smart field. So whenever you have these little brackets on the side, it's going to fill in information automatically for you. So it can fill in like the client name, their number, their shipping address, like so many different things, their invoice total, their date of their project. You can link to any of the other things in their project. There's so many different things that you can do here. And you can also customize these. So for instance, as a wedding planner, you might want to put their venue name. And when they fill that in, you could put a smart field for venue name, and it would automatically always fill that in. So that's just a way to make these things feel personalized, even when they're not, and you don't have to do any extra work for that. On this questionnaire, I'm going to ask them so many things, and you have things like fill in the blank questions. You also have drop-down questions. This has a few different options. You're going to have these little button questions where they can select yes or no. You can do multiple choice. There's a lot of different options, or even some longer wording here. And you can also put in cute little the gray sample text, which is really fun if you want to just infuse some personality into it. So all of my information is going to be right here for how they need their invitations to look, and all the information they need on here. I can just copy and paste, so I know there's not going to be any typos in their names, their venue name, etc. Basically, this questionnaire just goes through all different things, and when I add it here, I do have like their rehearsal dinner card. That's not something that everyone gets. So when I'm adding this to their project, if they don't have a rehearsal and dinner invite, I'll just delete these, or you could make a copy of this form that does have the rehearsal dinner invite and a copy that doesn't, and just use the appropriate one. So there's lots of different options here. I prefer to stack my forms like with everything that I need and delete down, but you can make as many different versions of this as you want. For my semi-custom invitations, I typically create a copy of this form that has pictures of the suite that they ordered, and that's also going to have my envelope color options for them to choose, because they haven't always chosen that by the time they book with me. Another version of this is the day of items questionnaire, and this is an example where I really load it with everything that I need and then change it based on exactly what they've ordered, because every day of order is going to be different. So if they want escort cards, place cards, I'm going to have like all their paper and ink color options right here. They have to check if they want first name, last name, titles, table number, meal choice, and they even have a file uploader here where they can upload the spreadsheet with everything on it. So I don't have to look through a bunch of emails saying, oh, did they choose the blue or the green ink? Did they choose the yellow cards? Where's the latest guest sheet, all of that is going to be right here where I need it. And then I have these signs, and what I'll do is for each one, I'll go in and put the size. So if there's an 8x10 bar sign, I'll just change this to say 8x10 bar sign, and then they can tell me like what paper they want, what the final quantity, and the exact text, and then I can just copy this particular container as many times as I need or delete it. I have a couple on here already because most people are ordering multiple signs. Menus, similar. They have their text, their design ideas, final quantity, and then we also have a file uploader just in case they need to upload anything. So these questionnaires are just going to keep everything in one place. I cannot stress enough how amazing and important this is. And the second type of form that is my absolute favorite one is going to be in these sub-agreements. This is like a deciding factor on Dubsado for me. A lot of programs when I started didn't have the ability to add a second signature on a project. So you could do a contract, but then if you needed a second signature for design proofs, you couldn't do that. And another CRM now has that, Honeybook. So Honeybook and Dubsado are pretty equal for stationery designers, in my opinion. But I absolutely love the sub-agreement feature because it allows you to get a second legally binding signature. And we, as designers, need that for all of our proofs. So here's an example of my proof form. This is my number one favorite thing about Dubsado. First, we're going to open with some welcome information, and we're going to start with the mock-up because that's like the BAM overall vibe. Make sure we're like getting the right feel for everything in the suite. You don't need to nitpick this. It's more about the overall vision. So I love that. It's a good starter piece. My clients absolutely love this. And if you're interested in how to make these mock-ups, I have a course in my membership stationery school all about how I create these. Then we have all of our individual proofs, and I'm going to provide as much information as possible. So we have our size, our paper stock, our color. If we are doing like letterpress printing or anything fancy with this, I'm going to add that to this information box here, which you can just add in and type whatever you need. Super easy. And then for each person, I'm just going to copy in their particular proofs, which are just JPEGs that I'm saving out from Illustrator. So we have a lot of different examples of recent imitation proofs. This one's really pretty. So it's really easy to just switch these out for each individual client. And then if I have a revision, I can just upload a new photo and toss it in here. And it's really easy for them to see everything at a larger size, spell check everything and make sure it's okay on an individual level. We have our details card here. We have our RSVP, and we're going to put our RSVP envelope in that section as well. And then we have all of our production details. So our quantity, any kind of finishing, what envelopes and embellishments are going on here, and then their addressing. I like to put if there's no addressing, just so that they remember they didn't order that and they don't expect there to be addressing. And then if a lot of times people will add it on in that case. So then we put our pieces. This is our envelope liner. And then basically we have these little text boxes that ask them to do specific things to make sure. And if they do a signature with all the answers selected as yes, that means we are chosen, ready to go, ready to print. If they have no and they put changes in here, then I will do new proof and make sure I get everything fully in writing. I'm always going to have a new version of this form, even if they select all yeses, but they say, this is approved for print, but remember to change, you know, the envelope color to yellow or something. I'm always going to create a new proof so we have a final one with the final signature with everything perfect, so that I'm covering my butt in case of an issue. So I'm reminding them they need to check wording, text, time, locations, etc. I'm reminding them they need to check design and layout, and then colors, paste details, etc. So that means they're making sure they're doing the quantity and all of those things. And then I like to remind them that the guest address that we put in here is fake for formatting purposes, but they do need to spell check their return address, because I had a couple people think that I was going to replace that with their return address, and I never did, and that was an interesting situation. And then I remind them to get their shipping address in here, just so that whenever I'm ready to ship everything, if it's changed, if they want to ship to their planner or their mom or something, I have the ability to put that on here. And then One final thing that I have on every single proof is just to remind them to work on their address template. Now for my custom invitations, that's the end, and they would just sign off here, and they'll do a signature even if there's no's, and then if there's all yeses with a signature, that's when I know we're ready to print. But for my semi-custom invitations, a lot of them purchase on Etsy, so I like to just have them sign some of my terms and conditions about like color differentiation, communication, number of revision, shipping, liability, all of that kind of stuff, just so that I have that signature on those terms and conditions, because they never do a contract when they purchase via Etsy. So this helps a lot. So that's only on the semi-custom ones that are purchasing through Etsy. I'm not going to save this because I did change that image. So those are my two favorite things about Dubsado, and I'll show you a couple of other things that are really helpful as well. So perhaps those things are going to seem so basic to you, but they are just so important to me as a stationery designer. And as you can see, I use forms for a lot of other things here too, lots of different types of contracts. We have a client lookbook type questionnaire where we can put in a lot of information about their textures, their palette, their inspiration, and then they can give us feedback on those things. So forms are just going to be so powerful. And I want to show you a couple other things that you'll especially love as a stationery designer. Packages are super helpful, and this is a way to package up your pricing so it's really easy to access in Dubsado. So you can basically create as many packages as you want, and they can be for something that is one thing, so like calligraphy guest addressing $4, or they can be for something that is a little bit more complicated and has a lot of different elements on it. So for instance, we have our invitation suite designs, we have our custom design fee, and then our common pricing for the common pieces of the suite that they're going to need to produce. You can have a basic package. This has a lot of different line items. And so when you go in to create an invoice somewhere, all you have to do is select one single package, or you can add, you could add envelope liner, silk ribbon wrap, etc. But you can add all of these different line items at once by just selecting these different packages. And you can set those up in quantities of 25, 50, 10, like whatever makes the most sense for you. Or you can do like I do and just set them up in 100 and then change the quantities on an individual basis based on exactly what they need. Something else I think you'll like is the proposal, and there's 3 different types of proposals in Dubsado. I have another video breaking down all 3 of them, but on a basic level, you can make it really easy. So you can make it so they pull in different packages and clients can select different options that they want, and it will build out an invoice. Or you can build out an invoice on the back end, which I prefer to do for my custom clients, and then send over a proposal such as this one that automatically pulls that invoice and has other things on it. So this one has some frequently asked questions, some nice photos to get them excited, to give them some information, answer some questions for them, and then it will just automatically pull in our invoice, whatever invoice we have on this job, and then kind of next steps, some information from me, and a couple of things they need to accept, just like that shipping is only estimated, and then all pricing is subject to change if anything changes. So the cool thing about all the Dubsado proposals is you can connect them directly to a contract and an invoice. So since I'm the business owner, I won't see everything exactly as the client would. But if they like this, they can click here, and then there will be a submit button for them. It will take them directly to the contract where they can sign all of this, and then that will take them directly to the invoice. So all of that becomes part of one step. It's all 3 of those steps done in one. So you send the proposal, and then you could get the contract signed, the invoice paid without having to do anything else. As you can see in Dubsado, there are a lot of different things you can do. You have reporting features, you have tons of templates that I didn't even show you, the scheduler, the canned emails. Under my face here, we have workflows and payment plans. Some of those things are a little bit next level. Workflow is where you can like automate some of the sending of some of these things without you even having to go in and send them or customize them. So it's really cool, but it's really next level. And I have videos on a lot of other features in Dubsado, but if you are a stationery designer, these are going to be my main ones. It's the forms, it's the proposals, and it's the packages. And those are very simple features that are all included, like even with our most basic plan. And I think, something we get confused over is that we have all of these different features and next level things we can do. So we feel like we have to use those. But I get so much value out of Dubsado without even using, like, I don't use the appointments. I don't really use the workflows very much. I don't use a lot of tasks because that's just not how my brain works, and it's not how I choose to do things. So that doesn't mean you can't explore those new features. And once you have this system in place, you can absolutely do that. But it's so powerful just to use even some of those simple features. So just keeping everything in one place will prevent you from making mistakes. It'll prevent you from missing little details. It'll prevent you from costly errors and like ordering things incorrectly. Keeping everything organized with the packages will prevent you from making any pricing errors. It'll save time on your proposals, and then the proposals will just save you time and make sure you get that contract signed on every job without even thinking about it. Make sure you get that invoice paid without even really having to think about it. So the amount of time and energy and effort this is going to save you is so powerful, and I didn't even dive in to the like next level stuff. So just imagine how helpful that stuff can be if even the most simple features are going to be this helpful to you as a stationer. So let me know what other questions you have about Dubsado. Check out our full playlist on them to dive into some more features, setup, first things you should do once you get it. One of the things I love about Dubsado is their free trial is 3 clients, no matter how long it takes you. It's not time limited. So you can go ahead and get this set up for a client or 2, even if you don't have a ton of clients right now, and then you don't have to pay until you have used those 3 projects. If you do end up going with Dubsado, definitely use code Design by Lainey or the link in the description to sign up so you get 30% off your first month or year with them. Thanks, everybody.